Hey there guys, welcome to another reaction videos. I've been told that George Harrison and Eric Clapton were in love with the same woman. Came out as a shock to me. But this video has been shared and this is the Layla story. I believe this is the woman whom they were both in love with. Without further ado, let's find out who she is and why two legends would be in love with this same woman.
She's the woman who came between two rock legends and had to choose between them. How do you choose between Beatle George Harrison and Eric Clapton?
I know,
As
right?
Chris Connolly reports, that's the kind of tough call many women dream about.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
One glance at the images from Pattie Boyd's youth, first as one of London's top models, then as mate and muse to rock and roll royalty, and you can understand why she captivated the most desirable men of her time. She was beautiful, though inexplicably, she never thought so.
I really don't think it's true. I was maybe pretty, but beautiful is something else.
Wonderful Tonight, her best-selling memoir, chronicles her life and loves, including the one that began in March of 1964, when she was cast in the Beatles movie A Hard Day's Night, and given a single word to say.
There was nobody on the platform except four guys, instantly recognizable. They'd sweetly and charmingly introduced themselves, as if we didn't know who they were.
To whom did you find yourself drawn?
Well, guess.
It was a 21-year-old George Harrison.
He was incredibly good looking, and very, very attractive, but also he seemed quite shy, and me being rather shy, I sort of felt an affinity with him.
Their first date was chaperoned by Beatles manager Brian Epstein, and they clicked. How did he ask you to marry him?
One day he said, I think we should really get married. I'm going to go and speak to Brian. And then came back and gave me a big kiss and said, Brian says we can get married in January.
On to ABC.
Pattie would settle into cozy domesticity, while George would go on to make the greatest music of his career with the Beatles, including a song George told Pattie he'd written for her, Something.
Something in the way she moves.
I thought it was an incredibly beautiful song. Beautiful.
Attracts me like no other lover.
Yet well before George took the stage at the concert for Bangladesh, Pattie had attracted the attentions of another man, one very close to him.
Your friend of mine, Miss Eric Clapton.
One day I got a little letter, beautifully written, and saying that, you know, this person really loved me, and I had no idea who it was from. It was just signed E. So I showed it to George, said, look, I've got a great fan here.
Eric.
And thought no more about it until that evening. And Eric phoned up and he said, did you get my letter? Oh, my God.
Eric and Pattie began to spend a lot of time together. What was going on? You were a married woman?
Yes, but I hardly ever saw George. He seemed to be in the office or in the studio all the time. So I was pretty much left on my own.
What was exciting about this man, Eric, courting you as he was?
Well, I suppose it was exciting because, you know, quite frankly, he was outrageous. And me, silly me, being sort of swayed by flattery.
No one had told you in a while that you were beautiful, you were desirable?
No.
You missed that in your life.
Yeah, but it's pathetic, isn't it, to think that, you know, one relies on that.
On a single tumultuous day in 1970, Pattie Boyd Harrison would come to know the depth of Eric Clapton's feelings for her.
He said he wanted to play me something. He put a tape in the cassette machine, and he played Layla. It was absolutely staggeringly beautiful and powerful. He played it a couple of more times, and I sort of realized it was about me. And I panicked slightly because I thought, things are getting a bit too hot for me, a bit too hot to handle.
Why were you torn?
Because, you know, I was married and I held marriage very dearly, and I didn't want to make this big major decision. And George was slightly retreating.
That night, Pattie and George attended a party at Eric's manager's house.
I remember being out in the garden with Eric at one point, and then George appeared from nowhere and said to Eric, what are you doing? What's happening? And then that's when Eric said, I'm in love with your wife.
What was that moment like?
Oh, awful. I just wanted the earth to swallow me up. I felt as if I was being pushed into making a decision for the rest of my life.
And so George asked his wife, are you going home with me or him?
I went home with George.
How did that feel to have made that decision at that moment?
You see, I'm a Pisces. In astrology, that's two fishes swimming in different directions. So I am typical, you know, being pulled one way or the other. And it's just like, it's a really bad sign to be in this situation.
The next time Eric saw Patty, he held up a vial of heroin, vowing to take it if she didn't run off with him. Again, she refused.
The result of that was that he sunk into a sort of heroin addiction for about 4 years, 3-4 years.
Wow.
And that was it, so I didn't see him for that time.
Oh my Lord, this is serious. Are you? Wow. She must be doing something right then. There must be something really unique about her. This is serious. This is all so fascinating, my Lord.
Meanwhile, with the Beatles broken up, George became more distant and distracted.
We were just really unhappy with each other. And I think when you're unhappy, you behave badly.
A lot of drugs and drinking around.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Infidelities on his part.
Oh, yes.
There was a hideous scene, Patty recalls, when George was caught having an affair with Ringo Starr's then-wife, Maureen.
George said that he was in love with her.
Yes. Maybe he was reacting against what Eric had said to him.
Meanwhile, Clapton kicked heroin and continued his pursuit of Patty. And so, in the summer of 1974, she made her decision, once and for all.
What made you decide to leave George and go with Eric?
I'd sort of had enough. It was an untenable time, and I just didn't want any more of it.
Did you make a mistake, or did you do the right thing?
At the end of the day, I just had to take the bull by the horns and think, right, I'm making a decision and I'm going to stick to it. And that's what I did.
Patty would stay with Eric for 14 tumultuous years.
Wow.
They would marry in 1979 and divorce in 1988 after he revealed that another woman was pregnant with his child.
That relationship, I think, was all about extremes. Loads of heartache and loads of fun and, joyous times.
Oh no. I mean, you chased a woman for so long, and when she's finally yours, you went ahead to impregnate another woman.
Those joyous times inspired another song, one Eric wrote as Patty dressed for an evening out. Wonderful Tonight.
And I say yes, you have wonderful tonight.
That's fun.
People say you're one of the great muses of our time.
It makes me feel flattered that the beautiful songs were written for me. I can't take it on board personally. I'm trying to receive it in a gracious manner, but it's kind of too overwhelming.
Patty's photographs are now on exhibit in New York, with one-of-a-kind peaks at an unforgettable era. Remarkably, up to his death in 2001, George would always remain on good terms with Eric.
Here are the two gentlemen together, and you talked about even how at Christmas, the year that you went with Eric, George came over and you had a lovely time together.
Yes, but George was actually horrified, really, because I was eating turkey and we were vegetarians.
You were walking the dark side.
I was.
Two men between whom Patty Boyd is asked to choose one final time.
Who is the great love of your life?
Oh, that's such a difficult one, Chris. Can I have two? No. Probably George. I feel that George is with me forever. So I suppose I'll have to say that George is the love of my life.
A top call. Jeez. Wow, how many songs were written for this woman? Something in the way she moves. Wow. She's gorgeous. I mean, look at those eyes. Look at that face. She's got this innocent look and she's so soft-spoken. So innocent. She's beautiful. But still, there must be something else that will make That would make two legends like this be so much in love with her. But at the end of the day, they both cheated. What is that though? Why? That was sad. But this is honestly so fascinating to listen. I had no idea. I had no idea. I wouldn't have known if this video wasn't shared with me. Eric Clapton and George Harrison in love with the same woman. And they both wrote songs for her. She is a legend. I mean, she does deserve to have a picture hung up there. She's a legend too. She's a legend too. Wow. She doesn't even think she's beautiful. She thinks she's pretty. So humble. So humble. This was beautiful and also very interesting. I wish models would look like this nowadays. She looks natural, absolutely natural. They're just naturally beautiful. There's nothing artificial, and it's not like she's that skinny. She's slim. It's just perfect. But nowadays, they would starve themselves because they want to be models. But she's a supermodel. She's got the figure of an angel. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this story with me, Stan. Thanks for watching it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it too. I think I'm going to be checking out the songs that were written for her as well. Thank you guys for watching the video again. I really hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, do not hesitate to give me a big fat thumbs up. Consider hitting the subscribe button too. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Go to bed, stay safe, be kind, and bye.